Okay, Mr. Stelly, you've been in jail 8 months?
Uh, since October, 5 months.
Okay.
November, December, January, February, March. 5 months. November, December, January, February, March.
Okay, 6 months. We'll go
6
with 6. Let's go with
Okay.
6. All right.
Okay.
All right. Tell me what happened.
Well, I'm happy to show you the first parole hearing with the new board. As you can see, we have our regular Mr. Freeman and Ms. Renatza, but we have a new board member who we're going to go review over a little bit after this hearing. But with that, let's jump in.
All right. Mr. Stelly, you're accused of violating the conditions of parole, specifically condition number 4. And it says on October 19th, 2023, you were engaged in criminal activity in East Baton Rouge Parish. You were arrested for domestic abuse battery by the East Baton Rouge Sheriff's Office. The charge of a domestic abuse battery was no billed by the East Baton Rouge District Attorney's Office. So how do you plead to violating condition number 4? Guilty or not guilty?
I got arrested, but I didn't get
We'll talk about it. I need you to plead though. You say guilty or not guilty?
guilty.
You plead guilty? All right. And then the other one is condition number 10. And it states you are in arrears $315 for your supervision fees.
Guilty.
So I plead guilty to that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Would you answer Mr. Freeman's questions, please, sir?
Okay, Mr. Stelly, you've been in jail 8 months?
Since October, 5 months.
Okay.
November, December, January, February, March. 5 months. November, December, January, February, March.
Okay, 6 months. We'll go
6
with 6. Let's go with
Okay.
6. All right.
Okay.
All right. Tell me what happened. What's been pretty serious? I see there's some pretty serious wounds on her.
Only wound she really had on her was her neck, where she scratched herself with her ring. That's the only thing. I didn't put my hands on her. She started punching on me. She put her hands on me. I grabbed her to get her off of me, and her ring scratched her in her neck. That's the only mark she really had on her.
What
Like,
happened
I
to the
came home.
charges? Are they finished yet?
They completely dismissed them. They never picked them up. The state never picked them up. There was no, I don't know. They told me the reason they brought me to jail, they were bringing me to jail, is because I didn't have nowhere to go in Baton Rouge. I didn't have no other house to go to. That was my residence and her residence, and I had to leave the residence. Being that I didn't have nowhere to go, they was bringing me to jail. And then the next day, they got a parole hold on me.
Right. All right. Okay. Who is the victim? Is that your girlfriend?
That was my girlfriend, yes, sir.
Y'all still see each other?
We talk here and there. It's not like that. She's crazy. I learned that in the wrong way. I'm good. I want to be single now. No, I'm good.
Yeah. She advised that y'all had gotten in a fight the night before. Did y'all have an argument the night before too?
No, sir. We fussed the night before, but it wasn't nothing like that. Like she spazzes out. Like, bad.
So y'all been having a few problems, huh?
Just fussing. She spazzes out. Starts swinging on me and stuff like that.
Okay. It also states that you went into the bathroom, and that's where it started. At first, y'all were just arguing, but then it became physical.
Yeah, I didn't go in the bathroom on her. She was taking a bath, and I went and walked to the store and came back, and she was laying down on the couch, and she started punching on me when I walked through the front door.
Okay. Did she leave? Where did she call the cops from?
She took off outside, and I don't know where she called them from. That I don't know. She took off running outside. I thought she went run to the neighbor's house or something. I don't know. She does that often.
Were you working?
I wasn't at the moment. Our truck had broke down. I wasn't working at the moment. But I'm going back. If I was to get out today, I'm going to try to get my job back at Turner.
At Turner?
At Turner, yes, sir. I was working at Turner Industries.
Okay, I have no further questions.
So, what is her name?
Megan,
So why do you think Megan, as you say, spazzed out on you? What made her that way?
her and her ex, that was another reason that I got arrested, because there was so many calls to 911 of domestic from that address, because her and her ex lived in that same trailer park. And she never put charges on him or nothing, meaning he wasn't the address, they never looked for him. So being that she had a bunch of domestics called under her name, I wasn't aware of none of this until that night, whenever they brought me to jail. The cops are saying they stayed getting calls out there for it. Like, I was in a bad situation. I'm not from Baton Rouge. I'm from Lafayette area. And
What
I
had
met
you
her.
gone this experience?
Who I want to be single. I don't want to be around nobody. I'm gonna go home to my family, go to work, and just look out for myself for a little while. Like, I've been sitting in jail for the last 5 months, just thinking every day, like,
What kind of
It's
work
rough.
you did for Turner?
I was working at the pipe yard. I started off as pipe cleaner, cleaning pipe, and then within 3 weeks I was overhead crane operator. I moved up fast, so I'm pretty sure they give me my job back. I would just have to take a cut in pay of what they was giving me. Being
Yeah,
that, and
work-
I'm willing to do that if I get a chance.
Where would you live?
I'm be either at my sister's or my nanny's. My
Where
little
they-
cousin my nanny lives in Ornerville, but my little cousin works at Turner. He was getting certified to be a welder.
He live
He lives with his mama, with my nanny.
in Arnaville?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right, any other questions? Anything you want to say to us before we vote?
I just ask for mercy. Give me one more chance to get it right. Like, man, I wish I'd have paid attention to what my family told me. Don't run off with her, just stay home. Like, there's one more chance. Like,
Well, hey, that's a lesson learned.
When you were incarcerated previously, you took a lot of programming, didn't you?
yes, ma'am.
Do you remember some of the stuff you were taught while you were taking those courses?
Yes,
Did you
ma'am.
Did you take anger management?
Yes, ma'am. I do pretty good with my anger for the most part, but I'd be willing to take it again once if I'm released. I'd be willing to go to classes and everything. Like, I really would. Like,
Well, don't
anything,
Down on you.
just be able to give life another try and not be stuck doing this. They got me in River Bend, the worst of the worst. Like, it's bad up here. Gets it out you.
All right, I think we're ready to vote, Mr. Freeman.
Okay, Mr. Staley, obviously you and this lady are, definitely have problems. You know, I do believe there was a confrontation that night. I think you kind of let it down a little bit. There was no weapon used, but there was some scratches on her arms, neck, face, and a swollen lip. You also had some scratches on you, on your head and neck. So you still trying to say it wasn't a little physical?
She kept grabbing on to me like this, and I just pushed her off of me. Like, yeah, I just pushed her off of me, but she was clenching on to me. Like, I don't understand why she, like, from knowing what her and her
Swollen
ex,
lip, I think you said the swollen lip came because your hand slipped up and
yeah, I was trying to get her off my throat.
trying to get her off your throat. Okay. Just tell you one of those cases that's pretty much, if I revoke you today, you're gonna get right back out. Your good time date is 3/29/24, so it's almost here. And your full term date is 3/29/26. So that's not but 2 years off. Can you stay away from her?
Yes, sir.
My vote today is gonna be do not revoke, no contact with victim, New Iberia don't use a lot of electronic monitor. I want electronic monitoring for the first 6 months to make sure that you go nowhere where this victim is. If you get anywhere in her vicinity, we're gonna revoke. And
Okay.
hopefully charges. You need to learn. And I also want you to retake that anger management. Let them get you back in touch with that. Retake it and think
Okay.
about what you did.
I'll be going back on that end towards Lafayette area, so I'd be able to get in touch with the reentry coordinator and go through the thing in Lafayette.
Okay. Let us finish
would give
that
me any-
first. Mrs. Ledoux.
Mr. Stelly, I'm glad you have a plan, but we need to decide where you're going first. So, you're only a second class offender. I hope that you've learned something from this period of sitting. My vote today is to not revoke you, not because I don't think something happened, but because I think you've had enough time and you've been making some plans for doing better while you're sitting there. So you'll need to retake some anger management classes and have no contact with the victim.
All right, Mr. Stelly, I do concur with my colleagues. My vote also is do not revoke. Add the special condition, you have no control, and complete an anger management course, and your parole officer can help you get that situated.
All
And
right.
electronic monitoring as well for 6 months.
What's the electronic monitoring?
Like
They have it
Monitor-
at the office. You don't pay for nothing.
Okay, monitor me over electronics, over like Facebook and things like that.
Don't go and you walk around for 6 months.
Ankle monitor.
Oh, ankle monitor?
Yes.
Okay,
All right, good luck to you, sir.
all right, thank you. That's all?
Yeah, that concludes our business at River Bend. We're going to sign off at 10:06. Good luck.
All right, thank y'all. Y'all have a blessed day.
Well, what a way to kick off the new hearings. Man, this guy might not be the sharpest tool in the shed. I mean, who doesn't know how much time they've served? That's usually a number that just rolls off of everyone's tongues, but the idea that he had to count, that was just, and starting with, oh, it was her ring that made her scratch on her neck. But I think the most interesting part about this is that he he didn't realize that he should have done anything he could have to have not had this hearing. You see, he was getting out no matter what in 10 days, March 29th. If he had just waited 10 days, if he had filed some type of motion to kick down the road, or I don't know if he's allowed to refuse a hearing or not. I don't think you are, but it means he wouldn't have had any conditions. But now he has to have an ankle monitor, which was hilarious when he thought that it was to monitor his Facebook. I've never heard that. This is, I mean, this is definitely a unique hearing. I don't know really what to say, but it's it's a new parole board, as many of you are aware. Ms. Renatza and Mr. Pete Freeman are back, but Mr. O'Shea, Mr. Marbella, Ms. Jackson, Ms. Wise are sadly not coming back. Brennan Kelsey as well. So we'll make a few videos reviewing all the different parole board members. To start, the first person whom we saw today, I'll add her to the screen. Let me see. And we didn't see much of her on this hearing, but it's just she's returned to the community parole. So she had served for 5 years in a previous administration. We have never seen her. We had never heard of her, but she had been here. And it's quite interesting. She took advantage of multiple Association of Parole Authority international training events. During her tenure on the board, she earned her MS in communication from the University of Lafayette, where she wrote her, and this is, where she wrote her qualitative thesis on stakeholder theory in medical parole reform. Isn't that a unique angle? Recently, she has served 7 years as a congressional liaison to the United States House of Representatives Speaker. So it's it was definitely interesting. What was he initially in for? Essentially in for 2012, which he has here is theft over $300. And 2020, he has something where he was booked, but it's not clear. But man, it was definitely a way to kick off the new hearings in 2024, and I'll keep you posted. There are some very interesting board members that have joined, and I guess I can give you a quick overview of that. So we have Miss Caroline Stapleton, which I believe is the kind of like replacing Mr. O'Shea as the victim's advocate. So she retired from the East Baton Rouge Sheriff's Office in 2014 with over 2 decades of experience in crime victim assistance services. During her tenure at the EBR Crime Victim Assistance Division Director, she was awarded the National Sheriff's Association Award for Crime Victim Services and National Crime Victim Rights Week Community Awareness Credit. Since her retirement, Ms. Stapleton has served in various capacities in victim services, including the position of the 16th Judicial District Attorney. She has also served as the Crime Victim Reparation Board. So she's my guess, the victim's advocate, and replacing Mr. O'Shea's role on that. Chucky Tillis. Chucky Tillis is a graduate of Southern University. He served over 30 years as president of Oilfield Plant Maintenance. For the past 15 years, he selflessly dedicated himself to prison ministry. He was working as his work serving and ministering to the inmates at Angola reflects a deep understanding and challenge faced by those incarcerated. This to me is very interesting that he's a prison minister, right? It's a very unique approach. We haven't seen anything like that in the past parole board make. And of course, we have Pete Freeman, who we know, and this is the man who I'm very curious to see. He's kind of like the Judd Grady of Louisiana, former sheriff with a lot of personality, who says things that people might say are controversial. Steve Crater was a Shreveport Police Department for 19 years, worked in patrol, detective, and narcotics before being appointed chief of police, a position he held for over 8 years. He was then elected sheriff of Kiddo Parish, held that term for 6 terms, during which time he served on the Louisiana Commission of Law Enforcement. So I'm very interested in seeing this man. But I just realized that I was doing this entire thing without you seeing what I was saying. So I'm sorry about that. I thought that the Zoom was different. But we're going to be going back to doing more of all of these new hearings, and more regular updates at the 1 p.m. Eastern Time upload as well. And with that, I'll let you go.